Ghostbusters Answer the Call just made the cut for the catch up, which I'm so glad I added as a semi regular Monday movie review because, it falls in that weird, it isn't retro and it's not current. What exactly is it? But more importantly, last week I reviewed the quadrilogy of all the Ghostbusters that happen within the same timeline, and so today comes the outlier, if you will, the one that isn't in the known universe of Ghostbusters, that being the 2016 Ghostbusters. I don't even know if you can call it reboot per se. I think it was technically a reboot, but the Ghostbusters movie that had nothing to do with 1984, 1989, and was forgotten when we connect to those in 2019. So, after the ad read and after the open rules, I'll break it down. Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
Whether it's your first time here or you're a regular here at Mr. Super Oz, I just want to thank you for tuning in to the channel. It exists because I, Oz, from the channel Mr. Super Oz, I wrote a 68-page graphic novel called Everlasting Survivors. Volume 1 is called All Day Long. If you follow the link in the description of this video, you can get yourself hats, shirts, posters, all kinds of fun things. But most importantly, you can get the story itself. And the more people that pick up the story, the greater the chances are that there can be continued adventures with these heroes. If you could, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, enjoy. Ghostbusters Answer the Call released in 2016. It ran 1 hour and 56 minutes. We start with a tour of a haunted house, and I wonder if the tour guide is supposed to be funny. He is saying things in such a way that I think that he believes he's amusing, but I'm not laughing. He says things about enslaving elephants and stuff about servants. It's just stupid and not funny. This beginning isn't filling me with an abundance of hope. Perhaps it will get better. Wait, so the house is both haunted and the tour guide is faking it? That's a weird choice. But I guess his goal is to make the haunting seem bigger or worse, maybe? I don't know, but it's revealed that the tour guide, the guy who's telling people all about this haunted house, also staged like a candle falling over. And it's just like, if the house is really haunted, and it's revealed later on, spoiler that it is, why do you have to do this? I don't understand. When we first meet Erin Gilbert, Kristen Wiig, she appears to be teaching a class at a college only for it to be revealed the room is empty. Dr. Linklater from Young Sheldon pops in and he is playing Ed Mulgrave, which is interesting since the actor's name is Ed, also Ed Begley Jr. He has come to talk about a book that Erin refuses to admit that she wrote, which puzzles me. Isn't this supposed to be a comedy? Like, is it supposed to be funny that she co-wrote a book and she refuses to acknowledge that she wrote it? Even if you don't like the book, it's still an accomplishment to have written it. I guess technically it is labeled comedy fantasy according to the Google, so I guess I will just forget that it says comedy on the front and assume that the fantasy is that these people think they're funny. Abby Yates, played by Melissa McCarthy, and Erin are old friends but no longer get along. Now we meet the wild child of the crew, Jillian Holtzman, played by Kate McKinnon. This is the oddest collection of characters, and still I haven't found anything funny. Oh yeah, they finally have a mildly amusing line when Abby and Jillian go to leave, and Erin says, "I'm not going," and Abby replies, "You were never invited." That was, at bare minimum, a good response. Jillian is, I assume, trying to be the Egon of this world, although she just lacks the endearing quality that Egon possessed. I mean, he wasn't just the man with the glasses, the man who knows the answers and says the funny thing. He also was a genuine person. When the trio arrive at the haunted house of Ed, the big bad and real ghost that doesn't need the tour guide's help haunting vomits on Aaron, and it is both disgusting and rushed. Did the team behind this not realize subtlety and pacing was a lot of what made the original such quality entertainment? The three women, who are supposedly adults, are acting very childish, and they don't even have the goo excuse from Ghostbusters 2, which made the guys fight one another. And I can't care about what's happening. I wish that I did. Enter Patty Tolan, played by Leslie Jones. Just more not funny writing and ridiculous. I 0% believe that this subway ticket taker would go deep into the track system to help with an obviously not good guy who is later revealed to be, well, that's part of the problem, is things are happening so quickly. I don't even know if the guy she's going to help is Rowan North, Neil Casey's character. I don't know. Maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it was him, but I think it was Rowan North who is setting off these charges to release the underworld or some weird stuff. I'm so grateful that the trio of women can't afford to lease the firehouse. It would have been super bad to put these unfunny, unrelatable people where the true Ghostbusters worked. Also, having this group operate above a Chinese restaurant feels appropriate. Hello, Kevin Beckman, played by Chris Hemsworth. My first instinct was to say, it is weird that this is the new Janine. Then it hit me, Janine was never treated as if she was dumb like Kevin is. Egon had pleasant interactions that would or could barely be seen as flirting, but instantly Aaron wants Kevin in the most obvious way. So Kevin isn't the new Janine. Kevin is Janine if you had never seen Ghostbusters and assumed that she was objectified, which is what I'm guessing happened with the people who put this thing together. Kevin is just the worst blonde, dumb stereotype. Blonde, I guess that's a combination of blonde and dumb. He asks if he can bring my cat to the office, and Abby tells him she is allergic to cats. So he clarifies, no, my cat is the name of my dog. I hate this, everything about it. Like, none of it is done well. Who thought this was a good idea? I can't stand how the writer thinks that they've done something smart or good when I haven't found any of this to be funny. I am struggling. If not for the channel, I certainly would have not finished this movie. Kevin tells the trio that Patty is in the waiting area, but they aren't even really set up, so no area is really designated for any particular thing. It doesn't matter anyway, since all four of the women go to the subway to check out what I assume Rowan did. I know with the channel I seek out not just good movies, but intentionally I look for all over the spectrum of, good, bad, and indifferent. I intentionally watched WWE Studio movies and have the channel regular of the WWE Studio Slam because they are notoriously known for not making great movies. But this must be among the top tier of the worst movies I have ever watched. Let's hope this is like Amazon's Jackpot and can pull up from this nosedive the movie has been on before the whole plane crashes and burns. Seriously, I question if Paul Feig, whatever his name is, thinks he is clever because nothing feels substantial or important. It turns out Paul, we'll say Feig, I don't know, also wrote Jackpot, which I think was my most disliked movie I've watched in the year of 2024, so that adds up. Patty proclaims she is joining the club, as if this isn't a business. Then it hits me. maybe it isn't a business. I think that is one of the big deviations from 1984. The writers weren't ashamed back then that the notion of this business was to make money. So the characters literally, in the case of Peter, would say, oh, that's $5,000 on their first mission, and, an additional $1,000 to keep the ghost trapped. And it was a clear indication after that, when they did the montage, that they were making money and doing well. And here, none of the women either seem to care about money or prospering. I think that might be what is causing all of this separation between me and it, is the anti-capitalist mindset that the writer or creator, the team behind this has. And, subverting general expectations. Like I said, them thinking, oh, well, Janine, who answered the phones, must have been getting treated badly, so we'll treat Kevin badly. Or is it that they think men just deserve that? I don't know what is causing all that, but that realization, the idea that maybe these women aren't out to make money, is definitely part of what is making it not make sense. Because it's funny, while I'm not successful with GambleComics.com yet, I've had a few sales, cover A is sold out, but I'm trying. That's the important part. I'm trying. Whereas these characters and the people behind it seem to be against the idea of making money. Both times that the team has used the proton packs, the stream of the proton pack has extended beyond the frame of the film, which I'm sure I'd have liked if I cared even just a little bit for the people within the story. This illustrates how that the focus of the film has been in all the wrong places the whole time. The people are what matter, not the effects, which, again, if you'd have watched the 1984 movie, like I have, which is great, you'd understand that, yes, the effects aren't amazing, but the characters make it hold up or help it stand the test of time, because great characters that interact well with one another are good no matter what, whereas special effects, whether they're pretty or not so pretty, aren't the foundational part of movie making. I mean, it doesn't hurt if it's good, but it's only frosting on top of a cake. It's not the actual cake. I have avoided this word so long that the movie is stupid, which is funny because when I hand wrote it, I wrote that stupid or stupidity about twice every page, but when I type up my notes, I try not to be redundant or just leave out things that I think aren't actually helping. Speaking of things that aren't actually helping, on the news, Dr. Martin, I'm going to say Hess, but I think it's pronounced differently, played by Bill Murray, calls these women phony, which is very appropriate. Another reoccurring fight in my notes is whether Kevin, Aaron, or Jillian is the worst character within the story. I tend to not be bothered by Patty or Abby. Maybe it's because I expected them to be unbearable, so I was prepared, but never thought Chris Hemsworth would be among my most disliked people within this. Speaking of worst, we get a terrible version of the Ghostbusters theme song. I'm just so checked out at this point. When Patty second guesses herself joining the club, I also second guess myself putting on this movie. I mean, I get it. I don't want to do only positive reviews, but this is such a challenge of a movie to finish. I think it comes down to assumptions. I've watched a not insignificant number of Christian films over the past year, or I mean even years, and one thing that they don't do that leftist media does is assume that everybody viewing it is on their side or carrying their own the same perspective as the makers. And I think that's one of my big issues with this movie is everybody within it just thinks that, oh, I don't have to explain anything. I don't have to help you. We're all on the same page. Club is trying to stop a ghost, at a rock show, which again visually is done well with the equipment. But the problem is that even when something begins to think about starting to be okay, we then get Patty accusing the crowd of being racist because she dives in to crowd surf and people move. And I just don't understand how that this is supposed to be entertaining. I mean, so frustrating. After capturing the ghost, the women dance out of the rock show after, all of this stuff. And it seems like it's attempting to be like a modern version of that classic montage, but it just doesn't measure up. And regarding the classic, Dr. Debunker Martin is at the clubhouse, the Chinese restaurant clubhouse, when the women return, and the girls are so self-conscious that they release the ghost to prove that they even got a ghost. This leads to the death of an original actor from the original Ghostbusters in Bill Murray, and it just seems like Paul Feig, whatever, is very, I don't know, he just frustrates me. Did he only make this to frustrate the people who are a fan of the product? It's very lame, and I hate everyone and everything that is going on within this. One redeeming character or moment would be just a blessing. I feel like this is longer than the original two movies combined, even though I know that it isn't. It just is a pain to get through. I regret that I've given so much of my time to this mess of a movie. At least with Jackpot, John Cena was a delight throughout. Chris Hemsworth hasn't even... Well, I know that it's what was written for him, but not even he can carry this thing because everything that he was given is bad. Annie Potts, the actress who played Janine, is here. She is Vanessa in this. And then I wonder, is every original living cast member going to cameo? If so, it really makes me question the motivation of the actors. Did they think this would work? Both heroes, which I use loosely, and villains are equally unlikable, so I'd be okay if both sides lost. Rowan is so committed to his goal of making everyone miserable like he is that he electrocutes himself, so it's so very ridiculous. It only gets worse when the women get fake arrested by Agent Rourke and the mayor, Andy Garcia. He admits that the city knows what is going on, but they'd rather lie to everyone with unclear reasons. But since the movie wants to be so unclear, I'll pretend like that it was the Tommy Lee Jones line that he gave to Will Smith. A person is smart, but people will panic from Men in Black. At least that movie tried to explain the logic of lying to the world while telling the viewer of the movie the truth. Cecily Strong is playing the mayor's assistant, or basically his representative from this point on, and she is always against the women since, I think, the writer-creator of this willing to keep that one element, I guess. It's weird. Why is the government being against the... But that's the thing. If they're not in a business, if it's just a club, then I give up. Whatever. Rowan North believes he can lead the fourth cataclysm, and he can carry up... It doesn't matter. None of it matters. Everything's stupid. A ghost possesses Abby because they have to do what was done in the prior films, just like with Ray getting possessed in the second one. Are we sure this just isn't a parody? Like, at least that would explain it. I mean, although the weird thing is, some of the scary movies are funny, so parodies can be funny, but are we sure this isn't just a parody? I don't get it. Kevin gets possessed by Rowan's, I'm going to say spirit for lack of a better word. And again, it feels like Scary Movie, not Ghostbusters. I extra feel like the original movies are the butt of the joke when Dan Aykroyd is just a cab driver who says, "I ain't afraid of no ghost." I'm so detached. Even Adam Ray, who, I generally like, is playing Slimer. But Slimer isn't allowed to be traditional Slimer and stand on his own. He has to have a lady Slimer. Everything is pointless. Even the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is easy work for this club. I give up. None of it. There's a point where I thought this thing was a 0 out of 5 stars. I literally took the DVD that I got at a used store, threw it in the trash. But that's the thing, is I believe this thing is worse than trash, even though trash is very low. Being a 0 out of 5 stars. I'm going to give Ghostbusters 2016 the lowest possible score in my rating system. If love is the tip top, hate is the absolute basement bottom. And I just hate this movie. They just have to ridicule or put down or use up all the original cast. Ernie Hudson is Patty's uncle, and he pops in mad that they messed up one of his hearses because he has a big funeral. And in the post-credit scene, they tarnish Dana Barrett, or Sigourney Weaver, who is Rebecca Gorin. It's so pointless. No originals can be shown respect or dignity within this. This clarifies and makes it make sense as to why that there was so much reverence put toward the originals when they made Ghostbusters Afterlife. Speaking of that, if you didn't watch last week, go check out the Ghostbusters quadrilogy from last Monday and the Real Ghostbusters Watch or Don't Watch from last Friday. At least there is good Ghostbusters content. This ain't it.
I get it. I'm sorry for the people that I thought that were making constant content about one product, and I was like, oh, there's no way it could be that unbearable. Well, it is. It was. And I'll never watch Ghostbusters Answer the Call again. But I thank you for watching. Thank you for following the link in the description to gamblecomics.com. Come back tomorrow for trivia. Come back Wednesday for Alpha Entertainment Worldwide. Thursday, more trivia. Thank you very much. Enjoy.